Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Alex, and in this tutorial I'm going to try to explain to you how I modeled a high poly version of tire and then convert it to low poly version and create a normal map out of it. This is not going to be a really detailed tutorial. Just follow along as I go and you'll get what I'm doing. So these are the high poly versions and these are the low poly versions with a normal map applied to them, and this is another view, high poly versions and low poly with normal maps. I'm going to hide all this and then I'm going to use a plane to create a design. I'm using one length and one width segment, converting it to editable poly, make it transparent, and then just move this around, and then I'm just going to use swift loop, and with the snap tool turned on and vertex selection selected, I'm going to realign these vertices because this is important for later stages. I'm going to select this one and hold shift and drag it out to duplicate it, and now I'm going to create another part, and that's really all about creating the basic shape. So I'm just going in and out of the snap tool because sometimes it gets in the way. And now I'm just going to duplicate this, make a copy of it, realign it, and just move the vertices according to the reference image that I set up earlier. So let me see, let's just duplicate this one again. And now I'm going to make a copy of this one also. Rotate it 90 degrees. I have angle snap turned on. I'm selecting all the polygons and flipping them so they face towards me, and then just realign it with the reference image. So now I'm going to attach them all together. And just duplicate them by turning snap tool turned on and hovering over this edge until the mouse button turns into these four-sided arrows, holding shift, this arrow, holding shift, and just move it up until it snaps the upper side. Make an instance of it, and if necessary just move around some vertices if something like in this part should be overlapping, so just move them around. But as I see here, this detail is okay, so I'm going to redo this again, but just make an instance, 45 instances of it. Click OK, and then just I'm going to create some depth on these instances. So I'm just going to select one, Alt Q to isolate it, 3 on the keyboard, select all the, what is this, border, and then just with holding shift I just drag it down a little bit. In the front view I'm going to select this vertices pressing R and move them outwards, and then just selecting these edges, and by holding shift I'm creating new ones, and then just holding control and switching to vertex selection, and move them out a little bit, go back to edge and just draw it out once and twice, control vertex R and move it inwards a little bit, then just reposition this outer mantle that I just created. And because these are fairly sharp, I'm going to select the edges, holding Alt to deselect what I don't want, and then hold Shift and chamfer them. And if I go to perspective view, I can see what happens. Then I'm going to select these polygons and apply a same smoothing group to them, and then I'm just going to delete some of these polygons because they are going to be overlapping anyway, so I don't need them. And this way I just created an outer look, and now I'm just going to do some additional stuff to these edges. So I'm going to go to edge selection and select all these edges, and deselect these ones, maybe select this one and deselect these ones because I don't want to chamfer these vertices, these edges. And then just going on the chamfer, hold shift and make a small chamfer, and with 15.1 centimeter will do. And this way we get a little bit less harsh edges. Then I just select everything, group it, name it tire profile 06, and apply a bend modifier to it. And in the top view, 360 degrees minus 90 direction, and on the y-axis. And I'm just going to look how it looks. And I still have a gap, so I'm going to increase the angle until it snaps together. So this is it. I'm going to go out of the isolation mode and unhide all, and I'm just going to resize it so it's the same size, approximately the same size as my other tires. The top view, I can really make it a little bit wider or narrower. And now I'm going to create the inner part of this model. So I'm just going to go to left view and use a tube to create this. With let's say with 3 width segments. I will have tried to realign it. vertex value, center, okay, and resize it, but affect pivot only, center to the object, and now resize it in the width until it snaps out of the tire profile, and then just resize it in these two until it touches these parts that are looking inwards. Okay, it's touching, and maybe a little bit too white. And now I'm just going to, let's see, I'm going to create, add additional segment, 2 segments on the sides, and then convert it to editable poly. And on the left view I'm just going to select these polygons and then just loop them, and hold Control and click on vertex, and in the front view I'm just going to apply some deformations to these parts like this. And now I'm going to group everything together, group tire 06, and now I'm going to apply an FFD modifier and set number of points in the width 3. Go to the top view, press 1 on the keyboard, select these vertices in the perspective view. I'm just going to push this out a little bit so it gets a little bit more curvy looking detail. So this was about creating a high poly version. Let's just say we are happy with what we got. We can also maybe resize it a little bit, because now it's a little bit big. Whoops. Just make sure you don't show vertex or anything selected. Yeah, this looks pretty okay. And now we are going to duplicate it by holding Shift, because now we are going to pick a normal map, make a copy of it and isolate it, Alt Q on the keyboard, and then just right click on this and collapse to group, ungroup, and select this inner part, which is we are going to use for our low poly version. Duplicate it, Control V, and rename it low poly 06. Make a copy of it and resize it so it goes out of the high poly version, and maybe in width also, just a little bit. Okay, let's say we are happy with this, and then I'm going to just delete the inner parts. Whoops. And with this high poly version I'm going to ungroup the outer parts, and I'm going to attach everything together. So going to down to attach, click on the list and select everything but the low poly version. Attach. This is necessary because else it won't work. Let me just make sure we are realigned exactly as it should be. So with the high poly version I'm going to name it high poly 06 and make sure I have my effect pivot only centered in the center, and then select the low poly version and realign it according to the pivot on all three axes. And then with the low poly version selected, I'm going to press first F10 on the keyboard to open the render setup, and under common settings I'm going to assign a default scanner renderer to it, and pressing 0 on the keyboard I'm opening render to texture with the low poly version selected. I'm going to enable project mapping and pick a high poly version, and then leave this use extend existing channel by 1 and here down under I'm going to click add normal map and rename it, and tell Max where you want this to be put. Tire 06 normal map. Saved 32 bits per pixel, and I'm going to use 1024. And I forgot to do another thing. I'm going to have to apply an UV modifier to this one. Oops, I'm going to delete projection for now. Unwrap UV modifier, and then just for select, come on, 3, and select all the faces on the y-axis. Quick planar, open UV editor, and then just select one of these edges, loop it, Control B to break it, to create a seam, select everything again and hold this, and until this happens start relaxing, and then just switch to face angle, stop relaxing. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, 90 degrees, and do it this, and again faces, start relaxing and stop, and custom pack, R on the keyboard, holding Control to resize it and move it, and then just right click collapse to, and then do the same as before, 0, but before, now we first have to delete this one or it's not going to work. Pick high poly version. As you can see, the projection is added. Normal maps, add element, again name it, and 1024, but first I'm going to go to projection, cage, and shade it. As we can see, it's really deformed, which is not what I'm looking for, so I'm going to reset it and then just push the amount a little bit till it covers the high poly version. This should do it, and then just render and let's see what happens. And exactly what I want. And let's just open this up so we can see what was created. I'm going to open it in Photoshop, and I'm going to let me just resize this, and then I'm just going to double click on it and make a copy of it and apply overlay, and then Control J again, so we can see this map really gets emphasized, and save it by Control Shift Alt save, and then just save it to where you have your tires created. Save it. I'm going to close this down and delete the projection and move this to the side, and then again F10. I'm going to use assign renderer, and again V-Ray advanced, and under settings I have 32 and relay lock show window none, and frame buffer enable frame buffer, and then just M on the keyboard, and let's just duplicate this one by dragging it to the another spot, and then just 0.6, and I have here on the bump V-Ray normal map, and this under normal map I'm going to just find my normal map that I just created, and hopefully it will work. And then just apply the selection, and let's see what happens. And voila, we have our low poly version created. I have no lights on this scene, so it looks a little bit off, but you get the picture. So this is how you can create a high poly and low poly version and bake a normal map in 3ds Max.